Moto Scout, exploring life on two wheels.
Welcome back, friends. I'm out and about picking up some blue thread locker so that I can do a little quick repair on my bike. I was out last week coming home from work actually when the linkage to my gear shifter to the transmission unscrewed. I'll show you when we get back to the house how it screws in on both ends. But when it unscrews on one end, you no longer can switch gears. Luckily, I had the same problem last fall and had fixed it, so I knew to just kind of coast over to the side of the road and screw it back in. Unfortunately, it's not one of those things that really does well with hand-tightened bolts, and it had worked itself back out about 10 minutes later. I finally got it to stick long enough for me to get home, and I have done the handyman fix on it by putting some duct tape over the bolts and onto the rod itself so that it won't back itself out. But I'm going to use this blue thread locker to make it a little more permanent. Stick around and I'll show you, one, how to fix the problem, and two, how to adjust your gear shifter so that it fits your foot as best it can. Of course, I can't go right home and fix it when it's 60 degrees and I had a full work day. So we'll get a little ride in real quick. Make sure, yep. Got my blue thread locker. Comes in blue and red. If you ever want to take the bolts back off, you want to do it in blue. Red is much more difficult and a more permanent fix. And with something that's adjustable like this gear shifter, I don't want to make a permanent change. I've got all my tools. I've got my elementary school chair. I've got a tape measure so I can make sure I've got it where I want it before I lock it in. A couple wrenches, some blocks, and my stand. Here's how I get my bike up onto the rear stand. I put blocks underneath the kickstand to get it kind of level. Now, you don't want to leave it like that, but it gets it up. See? Wanted to roll on me. There we go. Now it'll be a lot easier to work on. Got that up on the stand. Now here's what we're talking about. It's this rod right here. Normally you can see where it's got the stuff, the texture. You can spin that and it will adjust your thing. Hopefully that gives you a good line of sight. Got it taped on both ends because both ends screw in. Before I take it off, top edge is about 15 inches and I wanted it down just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and unscrew this end. And that comes unscrewed, and then you can see how it's moving the thing as we move it. That's what it looked like when I was driving. That's not going to change any gears at all. Moto Scout bested by duct tape. Not today, Moto friends. Alright. Now before we put the Loctite on there, I need to degrease this a little bit. Let me go get some degreaser. Now I do have some degreaser in the garage, but what I normally use for degreasing things, especially the chain, is kerosene. It's just a heating kerosene you can get at the hardware store. And I put it in a spray bottle and marked kerosene. I've got another bottle that I put some car wash in, and clean off the bike. So make sure you label your stuff. But this does a pretty good job of cleaning the chain, and a lot of places use it. Try to put the Loctite on there without cleaning the grease off of it first. It's not going to hold as well as you want it to. Alright, got that cleaned off. We give these nuts a little squirt. So now, this adjustment friction, this textured part was up towards the front. Let's screw the back in first. And that. All right. So I've got that screwed back together, and as you can see, depending on how you do it, this thing, your gear shift is moving up and down. Now what you want to do is have it in a place where it's easy for you to click up and both click down. The way I had it adjusted with the duct tape, it was too far of a pull, especially from first to second gear, for me to easily switch gears up. I kept hitting false neutrals, which I wasn't doing before the thing came off. So when I adjusted it on the roadside and then put the duct tape on it, I didn't have it low enough. So we're going to do it a little bit lower. Was it 15? Let's go. Let's go another ½ inch down. So I've got it where I want it. Now we're going to put the Loctite onto the screws and then tighten up the nuts. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit on there and right in there. Now I'm going to screw that back down to lock it on, and that one too. Now I'm going to double check, make sure I didn't change anything. Yep, I think that's where I want it. Now again, with the blue Loctite, or thread locker, I keep calling it Loctite, but it's blue thread locker. It is for use where disassembly is common. It keeps the threaded fasteners from vibration loosening, which is what was happening to it. The Z800 is a little vibey at times, but that's a good thing. Let you know that it's working. I've got 2 wrenches. You don't want to over torque it, but you want to get it tight. I think that does it. I'm going to wipe the excess off. Now this is something that's a pretty easy and quick fix. Even if you haven't had this problem, you could probably go ahead and do it. But if your bike doesn't vibrate a ton, it might not be a problem. It wasn't on my last bike. But this will give me a little bit more peace of mind. So I hope that you like this video. Just a little quick explanation of 1, how to adjust your shift lever, and 2, how to throw some thread locker on some troublesome bolts. Let's take it down off the thing, give it a try. Alright. Yep, I think I like it there. Alright, well thanks for checking in with me on this one. Until we get a chance to ride again, Moto Scout out. Y'all enjoy this great weather.